Okay, so one garage reorganizing later and some other stuff. We are going to now work on doing the valves. So I got the head. We're going to polish up all the valves. These are the intake valves on it. These are the exhaust valves. So these are honestly really clean to begin with, but I do want them to just be completely polished up. And the reasoning behind that is having them polished, having them as clean, as smooth as humanly possible, lets air flow through them easier and better. Therefore, you get better airflow, and more exhaust can easily get out. So, in translation, more power in that way. So even if it's not more than factory, it gets as close to what factory is capable of doing. This isn't, I'm like, you could do this every single time I'm like, it's just a fact that this will get deposits over time. It's just a fact, unless you tear apart your engine depending on how much you drive it, unless you're tearing it apart like every 2 weeks or whatever, or every month, you're going to get built up over time. But it just kind of depends on what you're willing to do. We're going to polish them up. So what we're going to do is that we're going to start out with some Scotch-Brite. We're going to put it into a drill. So we're going to put this into a drill via the stem side, and then we're going to have it on the highest setting, and we're just going to have this thing spin. All you do is just put this against it, just let it do the work. You don't have to apply a lot of force or anything. Just do that with that for about 5 minutes. Then we're going to move on to wet sanding. So we've got a bowl of water right here, and we're going to start out with 800 grit, go to 1000 grit, and go to 1500, and go to 3000 grit. So we're just going to build up each time. It is a while. For an inline 4 or so, it's going to probably take about 5 hours to get done every single valve, or to get done all the valves. Each valve itself is going to probably take about half an hour each, just because of how much you want to do. So with it, you can go even further at the very end after sanding everything down after the 3000 grit. You can go even further by taking some polish and truly polishing them up. I'm gonna skip that step. I don't really see a point. It just takes 5 minutes per valve times 16 valves. That's a lot of extra time, and for what I'm looking to do, it's not really worth it. I'm like, these are going to be changed out at some point anyways. These are not going to stay in there forever. They're stock valves. I plan to switch over to I'm going to switch over to some aftermarket ones at some point, but I just want these to be as good as I can get. So we're going to start doing that, and then I'll show you what the results are after I get all that done. Okay, so it's been about half an hour. I've been working on this one valve for now about half an hour. Show you kind of what results you're kind of looking for. This is what the old one would have looked like. So it's all flat right here. It actually feels a bit rough, kind of. And it has the coating. So valves do come with a coating usually around it. But so this will get rid of that if yours does have a coating. But either way, deposits and whatnot, and the coating right on top of here, and all polished up. Looks like this. So this took me about half an hour to do. Is it absolutely like mirror finish? Absolutely not. There are still a few areas I see here where I could do a bit better. The face of it is still got some on it, but it's so minuscule or so minor that I don't really think it's worth going the extra probably 10-15 minutes it takes to get this one valve done. On with it, when you do chuck it in a drill, you are not going to be able to truly polish up like the stem bit of it. So this honestly is not a concern right here, polishing this up, because this is what says your valve is gonna hold this in place. So this is no worry. It's mainly down here is where you want the polish to be. So this is what kind of results that you're kind of looking for, and what kind of that you're expecting after about 25 to 30 minutes of doing this. Again, start out with Scotch Brite. This is if you have like really heavy deposits on it. This is supposed to get off like the really heavy stuff. Then you go to 500. Then you go 1,000. Then you go 1,500. Then you go 3,000 in wet sand. You just dunk it in there. Hold the valve down while it's spinning at the fastest speed that your drill can do, and you just bring the sandpaper across the entire thing, bit by bit. And you can go back and forth if you think that there's a few deposits that are like really in there, and you kind of have to go with something heavy. You can go backwards. For instance, I went back to 800. After I was working on 1,500, I went back to 800 for a bit, then back to 1,000, then back to where I was at 1,500, just to get some of the more heavier stuff kind of out of there. And but for 25 to 30 minutes of work, this is honestly really good. This will be a whole lot better for airflow in the head, in the intake, and in the exhaust. So I haven't done an exhaust valve yet, but you're going to pretty much be expecting the exact same type of look out of it. So that's one valve done. I'm probably going to do this over a few days because this is time consuming. But if you're not on a really heavy time basis, like you're not on a time crunch, this is definitely worth the time to do, especially for the gains out of it. So that's just what I'm going to be doing for the next few days. And so I say if you're thinking about doing this, or you want to gain a bit more power possibly, or get closer to stock power, definitely a thing that you should think about doing. So yeah. After that, I'm going to probably work on cleaning up the block and cleaning up the head a bit more. I have some scrapers and some brushes to clean up a bunch of it and get it prepped for doing stuff. I've got parts on order now. I'm not gonna be able to get everything done all at once, but I'm gonna do bit by bit. I'm gonna probably knock out a big chunk of the stuff here soon. So that's coming. Gonna work on doing that. It's gonna take a few weeks because a few of that stuff is OEM stuff that I have to order from Japan. So some of it's gonna take a week. Some of it's gonna take 3 weeks or more. So we're going to work on doing that, and otherwise, that's just what's going on right now. Not much else going on. I might be going to go pick up a car. It's not gonna be if I get this, it's not a hatchback, and it's not a Integra, but it is still a Civic, and it will still work. And there's less stuff I have to worry about it, and it's in really good condition, and I can sell a whole bunch of stuff that's still in it. So we'll see what happens with that. Otherwise, hope y'all are doing good. Hope y'all are staying safe. Have a good one. Bye.